welcome to Fuzzy's Raves. My name is Jen. John's to my left. I almost said right there, but almost to my left. And I am drawing a rose. Well, sort of drawing the rose. I don't draw all of it, but using the Crayola colored pencils that I swatched out last time. So now I am doing them. Just compare these to the pastel pencils I did like over a week ago. So I have 24 Crayola colored pencils. Now, you don't need all 24 pencils to color anything. The more you have, the better, of course, but you could really get away with 3, 5, 4 at a stretch, maybe 5. You know, like white, black, and then like the, yellow, red, or yellow, red, and what am I missing? I should know this. Yellow, primary. Yeah, thank you.
You're sounding very hoarse.
I know, I need a drink called root beer.
Cough.
No, this is Ben Shaw's root beer since 1871. Never heard of it until I came here. Because you can't really get A&W root beer here.
Let's go some of this in it.
So the root beer, it's good. It just tastes slightly different. It's not really a common thing here, root beer. A lot of people think it tastes like Dermaline. And John had me smell some Dermaline once, and yeah, I can see why people say that, because it does smell.
Aseptic kind of smell and taste it.
Yeah.
Root beer lies.
Yeah. Well, I hope you haven't drunk Dermaline. But, so yeah. So like I said, you don't, back to being hoarse, but whatever. So, like I said, you don't need 24 colors. The more you have, okay, kind of. But, you need, like, the basics. And so, I started with this with the lightest green that I had. And then I went from light green to darkest green I have, which is like 2 up, because I only had 3 greens. And this is where knowing your color theory can come in handy, especially with colored pencils, because they are a transparent medium. In order to get shadows or...
Are they transparent or translucent?
Transparent, I think. No, they're not opaque, they're translucent. Yeah, they're not... And I'm the artist. So yeah, knowing your color theory and stuff helps, because obviously the opposite of green is red. So in order to get a shadow for anything green, use red. You don't have to just use red, but like I use red, blues, and what other color did I use? Did I use any orange? Oh, I used yellow. I used a bit of yellow to kind of get light. They use the yellow to lighten up the bit of the green parts, but I used orange, blue, and a couple of the red that I had to darken the shadow on the little green stem. And then when I went to the petal, which is what I'm doing at the moment, I used the lightest pink that I had. And yes, I sped this part up because the video would be way too long if I had enough. And it's going to focus, and it does get back in focus eventually, I promise. But I did notice until now, see? Then I fixed it. So I started with, like I said, started with the lightest pink. And then I used the next darkest pink, which is kind of like I don't actually know what color that is. Where's the thing? Does it say on the back what color? No, it doesn't. But so it's like a magenta kind of color. I think that's actually what it's called. Right? So then, of course, I put that in the shadow. I put that on the edge of the petal, because that's what would have some value to it. Which is what you need to think of when you're thinking of colored pencils. Using colored pencils. Thinking of colored pencils. Dreaming of colored pencils. No, see, when you're using colored pencils, you have to remember where your values, your tones are, or you want them to be, because then you obviously want to focus on adding more layers of color to those areas where you got shadow, where you have like darker patterns, because that's important. So you try to focus on them, like how with the petal, I focus on the edge, the inner edge and the outer edge, but also the kind of middle of the petal too, to kind of so it kind of blends out a bit, so it shows that it's got a bit of a curve to it. Well, sort of. It's hard to explain exactly. It's like I've been using colored pencils I talked about this last time, but so trying to do tutorials. This isn't a tutorial, honestly, because if I did a tutorial for colored pencils, I would be here for days, and I don't have days. That whole I ain't got time for that crap. I'm planning on doing a bigger colored pencil piece, but I'm not filming it all because the editing on that would be horrendous. And I'm a lazy editor, and I'll admit that. I'm not an editing fan. But musical editing, yeah. The actual video editing, not so much. But
Like me inattentive.
yeah, because I have to get bored with it. It's like, go off and do something else. And so yeah, I use a bit of red too. Like there's 3 variations of red. Now if I only had one, then I would try obviously one red. I would try to start out light and then go darker as time went on. But I wouldn't go darker right away. I would slowly build up the color so that it didn't get too dark because you can't really fix it. You can kind of erase it like with an electric eraser, but they still have a habit of eating up paper, so or leaving like marks on the paper that you can't color over. So I tend to start off light layers, which is why it takes me even longer maybe than someone else doing colored pencils, because I start out really, really light, which is really odd for me because I have a heavy pen with everything else that I do, which makes no sense. But, so, what color to pick now? I'm back to, I think this is like an orange. Yeah, this is like an orange kind of color. I think. Yeah, it is. Pretty sure. So I had to put a lot of colors. So I don't just add the main colors, like the reds and the pinks and stuff. I throw in a bit of different colors that you wouldn't think to normally use. Don't go completely out of the blue and add like a bright dark or a bright purple or a neon pink where you don't need a neon pink. Obviously, if you're supposed to be that already want it there, put it there. But because it doesn't really actually, just to say, it doesn't actually really matter what color you use. It's more like the values, the tones and shadows and all that stuff. I can make this rose, black and white, but it would look okay as long as I get the values and tones right. So this is in real time. And I work actually this slow. So if I did the whole video like this, people would fall asleep. See how slow that is?
That's real time.
That's real time. I have not edited this at all. It is real time.
Something doesn't look right.
Probably the color's possibly off
No,
slightly.
it's where your hand's moving.
No, I know.
Or low frame rate or something.
I'm not really sure. But no, it's real time.
Because when you see your thumb, it's jerk, jerk,
Yeah,
jerk,
I know.
jerk. It's not moving.
I know it's not moving right. But eventually I'll go back to speeding this up because nobody wants to watch 20 minutes of me working this slow. But you can see how I build up the layers. Like it's a lot of coloring back and forth. Now, some people use like a circular motion when they color with colored pencils, and you can do that. There's nothing really wrong with that. I personally find that when I do that, I don't get quite as good of a gradient as I would like. I know it does work for some people. I've seen a lot of really nice colored pencil work done with that circular blending motion. It just isn't one for me, and to each their own. I mean, like I said, some people use cross-hatching. I just use a bunch of lines, which is not so much cross-hatching, because cross-hatching is like equal lines and stuff, and my lines are not equal at all. But you can kind of see here where the color's so slowly building up. I can't talk today. I'm hoarse like a frog, and I can't talk today. And I don't know what the hell I'm going to talk about for the next 12 minutes. I'll get there eventually. But yeah, so you can see, like I said, I didn't finish the whole rose. You'll see that at the end, because, like I said, I didn't have time for that. But you can see how slow I'm actually working on this. If I spent... See, now I have the hiccups. That's great. Actually, like I said, lazy editor. I should edit this out, but I'm not. So yeah, apologize if I burp again or hiccup again. But yeah, so but like I said, I don't know what to talk about for this. It's so repetitive. It's just back and forth, light layers. You're trying to build up the values so it doesn't look so stark, and trying to decide where to put the light. Now the light is coming from the top left, I think. I think when you look at it, where is it?
I have no idea.
I know. Well, I'm looking at it right now. It's actually on my board. I forgot it was there. I would say the top left. Yeah, top left. So, I guess if you're looking at the screen, it's the top right on the screen. Yeah, that's probably it. So I'm trying to make sure that I leave the top left of the petal as light as I can and build up the bottom right of the petal to make it darker. So I add more like colors, like more magenta, more purples, more blues, a bit of greens and stuff to it. Keep the darkest greens, like the darkest blue that I have, and I'm trying to think of the darkest pink, any dark reds, I keep them to the shadow part of the petal, and then the lightest part of the petals, I use just the light pinks, the magenta, and there's like another pinkish kind of color. And then I kind of add like a dark, it's not so much an outline. It kind of looks like an outline when I'm looking at it, but you're just trying to make that top left, when you look at the screen edge, a little darker than the rest of the petal, but not as dark as the shadow on the top lower right, if that makes any sense. And it probably doesn't, because it doesn't make any sense when I explain it. It makes sense in my head, but not when I'm trying to say what the hell I'm doing. But yeah, so like I said, I'm using this pink. This is the lightest color of pink. Now, the base layer I started with, the base layer was light pink. Now, I use that pink multiple times as I'm building up the colors, because then everything is kind of matched and blended together. So you're not so much burnishing. Burnishing is pressing really hard, so don't press hard. You can. Some people do that technique too. I do it for some things like eyes and stuff, but for petals or inorganic stuff, no, wait, I got that wrong. For stuff that's like live, I try not to burnish too much. Inorganic stuff like metals, wood, I'm trying to think, what else? Plastics. I burnish sometimes because those things kind of have a smooth, kind of slick look to them. So you want that smooth, solid block of color. With other stuff that's living, you don't want everything to look so flat and smooth. Even with flowers, it has texture. If you're talking about tigers, any kind of cats, it's got texture to the fur. Horses, short fur, so anything that's got texture. So I try not to smooth that out, because then it just doesn't look quite right. And you don't want that with any kind of drawing, not just colored pencils. But yeah, I use this pink quite a lot, and I slowly build up the little divot in the petal. It's hard to explain a little, because I can't point at the screen. I need to. I can't wait. Every time I do this, I forget to set the other camera, so you can look at me and laugh. No, but there's not even stuff on my desk, so I could have. Oh well. And I'm not even gonna say next time, because I'll probably forget next time to do it too, more than likely. But yeah, so you see, I use a bit of blue to kind of for the darkest parts, because it adds to the darkness. The more colors you use, the closer to black you're gonna get. And I could have sort of cheated, we'll say, and used black, but I don't tend to use solid black so much with colored pencils, except for like when I draw eyes. If I'm the pupil of the eye, or the, what is that? I don't even know what that's called. It's around this. When you're drawing an animal, what's that be? It's like the part of the eye. It's not the eye itself. It's like what the eye sits in. It's a socket part, but it's like a membrane around the eye and stuff. I have no idea what it's called, and I'm probably not describing this at all properly. I'm really probably not. But I tend to build up colors, and then if I really, really need a dark area, then I'll use a bit of black. But not starting off using black originally, because black doesn't always make something look flat, but with colored pencils it can, so I try to add more than just black to an area, because it can look a little very obvious, very stark, and kind of makes it look really odd if it's solid blocks of color, because, like I said earlier, colored pencils is a transparent medium. Thank you, John, for reminding me of that.
Translucent.
Oh, I did it again! Yeah, translucent. I meant to say that. I'm not even thinking about it. I'm really not. But yeah, so that's why I was like layering stuff. The same thing if you're using like glazed paint. Same kind of thing. You have like glazed layers or watercolors. This is what I find really odd. I can use colored pencils, which, like you said, is a translucent medium. But I struggle with watercolor. I think it's because I'm being too rigid with the watercolor. I think that's my problem there. I need to be more loose and kind of just learn to let things flow and just do what the hell they want to do. But I'm so, like with colored pencil, I'm very meticulously detail orientated, which I need not to be with watercolor, because I actually don't even like the really like technical watercolors. I like the more loose looking stuff. But with colored pencils, it's really detail orientated. Now, if I was using acrylics or oils, same kind of thing, detail orientated. Even though I don't really paint much anymore, I'll maybe do it eventually. But, or even 3D. Detail-orientated stuff 3D, which is a bit of a problem, because then I end up with like millions of polygons, and that crashes my computer because the file's too big.
Not normally the case, though.
No, well, I only did it once, but that was my old computer, where it just kind of like completely went dead.
On
like
the laptop, they didn't appreciate throwing so much at it.
No, the laptop really didn't like, ZBrush or ZBrush or whatever the hell you want to call it. Sculptress, yes, it would run. But that's it's a very simple program, Sculptress. But I know this current computer will do the 3D stuff, but I have yet to actually make something that's like millions of polygons. So on this computer I have before, but so we'll wait and see if I can kill it. No, but at the moment I'm doing a lot of colored pencil stuff and a few digital stuff, which I need to do for Friday. Yes, because today's Tuesday. No, well, when this goes up, it's Tuesday, and then Friday will be like a fall collaboration, fall and something else. I can't remember what the other subject was, but I'll tell you on the video on Friday. And so yeah, I am still at real time. I'm so shocked. How long did I make this real time? Oh no, hey, they were back doing sped up things. So yeah, because like I said, I'm running out of things to talk about. Honestly, I am. But I need a drink because I'm sounding like a frog. Why do they say that? You sound like a frog. I mean, well, you're riveted. I guess you're croaking like a frog. Okay, that makes sense.
You're just croaking and it's...
That makes sense. When you stop and think about it, you're like, oh yeah, okay, that makes sense. But, yeah, so like I said, back and forth to the blue or the pinks. There's 3 in the Crayola thing. But if you only had the light one, then you just, same thing. You just build it up. You start out light and the layers... parts of the petal that you want dark, then you put more pink on that area, and then same thing, like, this is a blue, I do use a bit of purple, which you can kind of see, but, and then, I mean, if I wanted to make this look smooth, I'd probably, like I said, use like a, like terps, or, there's solutions you can get to do, like, are either low smelling or non-smelling.
Like that, what's it called?
I think it was oranges.
Orange stuff.
Yeah, it smells like oranges, and I can't remember.
Resolve or something like that.
I don't know. If I remember, I'll stick it up there, but I probably will forget even to do that. Yeah, it's supposed to smell like oranges. I've never used it because it's not exactly cheap, and I can get like a bottle of...
orange oil itself isn't actually
as
safe as people realize.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, terps don't really bug me, and I would be using them outside anyway because, you know, or by the window. But I use them more with oil pastels, which I haven't used in a while anyway. But
I don't mind smell real terps. It's fake terps.
It's
terp
fake
substitute. I don't like.
You prefer the smell of real terps?
Real terps, yeah.
Really?
A smooth, almost botanical kind of smell.
Oh yeah, I guess.
Terp substitute's got a really harsh, like, petroleum smell.
Yeah,
it's a petroleum.
I was gonna say that's what reminds me of petroleum, but I can't even remember what actual real terp smells like because I'm used to using the fake stuff. But yeah, because I used to use mostly with oil pastels. I don't actually use a lot of solvents with colored pencil. I just prefer the layers, even though they take me forever to do. I don't know why. I think it's because I'm always worried the solvents will mess up a piece and they won't dry properly, or they'll wreck the paper. But that's only if you use like a lot. If you put something like on like in a little dish and use a Q-tip or a rag, it's usually fine. It's when you drench the paper with the solvent that you're using, then it wrecks. Don't use oil. People use oil as a solvent for colored pencils, and yeah, okay, you can do it. It does work. I have tried it. The problem is it can wreck your paper, and it could stain your paper, and the stains don't go away. So, because it doesn't really dry, it's oil. So yeah, don't use oil, like vegetable oil or whatever kind of cooking oil. It does blend things. It's like I said, it just isn't good for your paper. And if you really want something to last, don't use it. If you really want something to last, don't use Crayolas because they're definitely not light fast. But I should actually do a light fast thing. We have a south-facing window, so I can stick them in the window for like a year, and you can see the difference. Because it probably will fade quite a lot, especially the pinks. Pinks are notoriously non-fade resistant. Is that what I said? Did I say that right? Maybe. But so yeah, anything that's reds or pinks kind of thing, or warm colors even, they fade a lot. Which is why like the Derwent color or light fast ones, a lot of the colors when you go through them, you realize most of them are not. None of the reds and pinks and stuff. I think there's a couple, but not very many. And they're more like brownish reds, I think. I don't know. I don't have them because they're out of my price range at the moment.
And then that Deco Blue, like, that definitely wasn't...
Oh, gosh, no. The Prismacolor Deco Blue? No, that was definitely not...
Jem was not happy.
Oh, no. I still like that color. I think I actually found the other day a little pencil stub. It's like 2 centimeters. Like, what are you gonna do with that?
At one point, someone would have paid you money for it because they were so desperate.
Well, I actually got a tin about 80% the Prismacolors, right? That I know people would pay
US
for it.
manufactured.
Yeah, but the shipping cost is just not worth it. But yeah, so the voiceover gen is gone. This is present day gen? I don't know, something like that. But so yeah, I'll do this one first if I can get the paper. This is what I finished on. Stop shaking it, can't focus. This is how far I got on the Crayola pencil, colored pencil one, or pencil crayon, whatever you want to call them. Now I didn't do any more because, like I said, I've got other shit to do. But from what I've got done, you can see the shadow and stuff. Now I could add more layers to this, but like I said, I've got other shit to do. But I could, and I build this up so it's a little bit more smoother and it's got a bit more tone to it. But it's good enough that I can show you the difference between that and this is the same rose thing. It's just been flipped. You can see with the pastels, and my voice is croaking again. You can see with the pastels that there really isn't a lot of depth to it. There's a bit actually when you look at it, but if I had some darker, like even slightly darker, not as dark as the purple in here and stuff, but even a bit of a darker purple, it would help build up these shadows a bit more, and then it would create more of a 3D look. I mean, this is actually not too bad for value and stuff. This is a bit flat because, like I said, I didn't do a lot of work on it. But it shows you the values that you can build up. This one would look better if I had a darker purple. So, maybe in the future, actually, I might take a darker purple, like one for the polys or something. If I used... Or, actually, this is perfect, this color. One sec, what is this? This is... What color is this? This is... magenta. So, this is just a magenta. No, I'm not worried about wrecking this because, you know... This was supposed to be practice pieces.
But you do that one with?
The pastels, the pastel pencils.
Oh, the ones you got from...
So see, you can build up... If I used like this color, and I could build up the values on the pastel thing. So you do need, when using colored pencils, a bit of variation. It does help. But you still can get away with having your basic, colors. Red, blue, yellow, black. There you go, you're done. You don't need everything. So people get 120 sets or 200 sets of pencils. You don't really need them all the time. You don't. It's nice to have, don't get me wrong, but you don't always need them. So yeah, I will be back, like I said, Friday with a digital fall piece collaboration thing. And then after that, I have no idea what I'm doing. So yeah, thanks for listening to me ramble with my dry, froggy, croaking voice.
Hopefully we're not getting sick because I had to go to the pharmacy
Oh,
to get
I will.
something and there was a guy in there, no mask on, even though the door said mask on empty.
I know.
Sniffling thingy, So
I
probably get
know.
over in the tiny pharmacy, whatever the hell he had, so I'm not
I
happy.
know.
I felt awful the last couple of
Because
days.
this is why I don't go anywhere. Because people are,
I don't go anywhere.
you know.
Because they're selfish little shits.
Yes, they are. But anyway, so thanks for listening to me or us, I should say. Like, subscribe, ring the notification bell, share. I always forget to say share. Leave a comment if you want. You don't have to, but it's always nice when people do. And like I said, I'll be back someday. I don't know exactly when. So bye. Oh, wrong hand. Check with this hand. Bye.